Welcome, seekers of enlightenment, to our exploration of wisdom and ego. As we traverse through life's intricate tapestry, we often find ourselves at the crossroads of inner growth, where the path of wisdom beckons us to leave behind the familiar territories of ego. It is a journey that invites a profound transformation, shaping not just our understanding but the very essence of our being. In this first discourse, let us explore the nature of wisdom. Wisdom is not merely the accumulation of knowledge or the ability to apply it. It is the deep knowing that emerges from the core of our existence. It is the silent language of the soul that resonates with the truths of life. The closer we get to wisdom, the more we realize that it is less about what we accumulate externally and more about what we nurture within. Wisdom is the light that grows brighter each time we choose humility over pride, learning over knowing, and curiosity over certainty. The hallmark of wisdom is the quiet confidence that doesn't seek to proclaim its presence. It is like the ancient tree that stands firm, not because it boasts of its roots, but because it has embraced the earth in a silent bond nurtured over time. We too grow in wisdom when we embrace the world with a quiet understanding and a heart willing to receive and give without a cacophony of self-importance. Now consider the nature of ego. Ego is the voice that clamors for attention, the insistent drumbeat that demands recognition. It thrives on comparison, on being more, having more, and doing more than others. Ego is fueled by the fear of inadequacy and the constant need for external validation. It is the shadow that grows longer as the light of our true self dims under the veil of ignorance. The journey from ego to wisdom requires us to recognize this shadow and understand its nuances. It demands of us to notice when we are being driven by the ego's need for approval and to gently steer ourselves back to the path of inner truth. This is not a battle but a gentle realignment, a subtle shift from noise to silence, from discord to harmony. In this gentle realignment, we find our first practical advisory: mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of present awareness without judgment. It is the conscious observation of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. When we are mindful, we can witness the ego's maneuvers without being swept away by them. We notice the urge to assert ourselves, to dominate a conversation, or to embellish our stories to gain admiration. With this awareness, we can choose differently. We can choose to listen more than we speak, to appreciate rather than judge, to connect rather than overshadow. As we cultivate mindfulness, we begin to value the stillness that becomes the bedrock of wisdom. In this stillness, we find the space to grow, to heal, and to connect with the deeper rhythms of life. It is in this sacred space that we realize that we do not need to prove anything to anyone. Our worth is inherent, and our place in the universe is assured not by the loudness of our presence, but by the quality of our silence. But how do we cultivate such stillness? This leads us to our second advisory: meditation. Meditation is not an escape from the world, but a gateway to experiencing life with clarity and depth. Through meditation, we quiet the incessant chatter of the ego and tune into the wisdom of our higher self. It is a practice that doesn't require us to become anything other than what we are. It simply allows us to be, to breathe, to witness the miracle of existence without the need for control or possession. As we meditate, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all things. We understand that our ego-driven desires are transient and that true fulfillment comes from our connection to the whole. We find joy in the simple act of being alive, aware, and part of the vast cosmos. Let us move forward now, with the seed of this understanding taking root within us. Reflect on how mindfulness and meditation have begun to shift your perspective from the noise of ego to the melody of wisdom. How does this shift change the way you interact with the world? How does it alter the fabric of your daily life? The dance of detachment, liberating the self from ego's grasp. As we proceed, let us immerse in the art of detachment. Detachment, in a spiritual sense, is not a cold or indifferent attitude. Rather, it is the recognition of our transient existence and the impermanence of all things. It is the art of holding lightly to the roles we play, the identities we assume, and the accolades we receive. When we practice detachment, we loosen the grip of ego, allowing our true self to emerge and bask in the glow of wisdom. The ego is often entangled in the material and societal markers of success. It basks in titles, possessions, and status, seeking to construct an identity that can be admired and envied. Detachment invites us to step back and observe this pursuit from a place of inner calm. It asks us to question the very foundation of our desires. What are we truly seeking in our relentless pursuit of more? Is it happiness, fulfillment, or a sense of worth? Detachment brings us face to face with the truth that none of these can be found in the external. They are the blossoms of the spirit, which only flourish when untethered from the ego's demands. Wisdom teaches us that the roles we play, be it a parent, a leader, a friend, or a partner, are but costumes we wear in the theater of life. They do not define us. They are not the sum total of our existence. When we know this, we can play our roles with passion and commitment, yet not lose ourselves in them. We can strive for excellence but remain unshaken by failure or criticism. We can enjoy the fruits of our labor, yet not despair when they wither away. Now let us consider how this plays out in our interactions with others. The ego often thrives on judgment and separation. It views others through the lens of competition and hierarchy. Detachment allows us to meet others where they are, with empathy and compassion. It helps us recognize that just like us, everyone is playing their part, guided by their level of consciousness and understanding. When we approach relationships from this place of detachment, we foster connections that are genuine, free from the need for control or validation. In practical terms, detachment can begin with simple acts. It can be the conscious decision to not engage in gossip, the choice to not compare ourselves with others on social media, or the resolve to not base our happiness on the fluctuating opinions of those around us. Each act of detachment strengthens our connection to wisdom and loosens the chains of ego. But detachment does not mean inaction. On the contrary, it empowers action that is rooted in purpose and service. When we are detached, we act not for personal gain but for the well-being of all. Our work becomes an offering, our talents a gift to the world, and our life a channel through which the universe expresses its boundless creativity. Consider the way a river flows to the sea. It does not cling to the banks or the boulders it encounters. It simply flows, nourishing the land, quenching thirst, and giving life without attachment to the outcomes of its giving. We too can learn from the river, to give of ourselves freely, to love without conditions, and to live with the grace of detachment. Reflect on the areas of your life where ego has taken a stronghold. What are the identities and attachments that you cling to for a sense of self? How might your life change if you were to loosen this grip and embrace the liberating dance of detachment? The alchemy of service. Transcending ego through compassionate action. Within the heart of service lies the potential for profound transformation. Service, when rendered selflessly, becomes a crucible in which the ego is transmuted into a sense of oneness with all beings. It is through service that we express the purest form of love, a love that asks for nothing in return, a love that is the very embodiment of wisdom. When we serve, We step out of the confines of our individual selves and into the vast expanse of collective experience. Our actions become not just about I or me, but about us and we. The ego, which thrives on separation, begins to lose its footing when we act for the benefit of others. This shift is at the heart of spiritual evolution. It is where the small self merges with the universal self. The act of service is a mirror reflecting our deepest values and our understanding of life. When we serve, we declare that we are not isolated entities fighting for survival, but integral threads in the fabric of existence, woven together by mutual support and kindness. Service is the practical application of the wisdom that tells us we are all interconnected. It is putting into action the knowledge that the well-being of one is linked to the well-being of all. But what does service look like in our daily lives? It is not only the grand gestures or the public acts of charity. True service is often quiet and unseen. It is found in the patience with which we listen to a friend in distress, the care with which we tend to the earth, and the respect with which we treat those who serve us in various capacities. Every act of kindness, every gesture of compassion, every moment of understanding is a service to the collective soul of humanity. Service also has the power to dissolve the barriers erected by the ego. When we serve, we often step into the shoes of another, seeing the world from their perspective. This is the birthplace of empathy, the soil in which wisdom takes root. In service, we recognize our shared vulnerabilities, our common strengths, and our collective aspirations. However, service is not about self-sacrifice or losing oneself in the process. It is about recognizing our gifts and sharing them in ways that uplift and empower. It is about finding the balance between giving and receiving, knowing that in the cycle of life, we are sometimes the givers and sometimes the receivers. This balance is the dynamic equilibrium that sustains the universe itself. As we engage in service, we must remain vigilant of the ego's subtle ways. The ego can easily co-opt service as a means to gain recognition or to feel superior. When we catch ourselves seeking these ego gratifications, it's an invitation to return to the heart, to the pure intention of serving simply for the joy and the necessity of it. Let us take a moment to reflect on the role that service plays in our lives. How can we expand our capacity to serve? How can we make our service more inclusive, more compassionate, and more reflective of the interconnectedness of all life? The symphony of gratitude, harmonizing with the infinite abundance of the universe. In the concluding chapter of our journey, we arrive at the sacred practice of gratitude. Gratitude is not merely a response to receiving. It is a state of being that attunes us to the profound beauty and abundance that permeates every moment of existence. It is the recognition of the interconnectedness of all life and the acknowledgement of the myriad gifts that the universe continually bestows upon us. Gratitude has the power to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. It invites us to see the wonder in the simplicity of a blooming flower, the majesty of a sunset, or the miracle of a breath. When we view the world through the lens of gratitude, we realize that everything is a gift. The challenges that strengthen us, the setbacks that deepen our resolve, and the successes that encourage us to keep striving. The practice of gratitude is the antidote to the ego's insatiable hunger for more. It gently shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, from what is absent to what is present. This shift is profound, for it opens our hearts to the flow of abundance that is our natural state. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the fullness of life, turning what we have into enough and more. Moreover, gratitude is the expression of our truest self. It is the soul's way of acknowledging its kinship with the divine. In gratitude, we bow to the wisdom that everything in life is interconnected, that the same force that animates us gives life to the stars, the mountains, and the oceans. By expressing gratitude, we harmonize with the symphony of the cosmos, contributing our unique note to the universal melody. When gratitude becomes our foundational approach to life, we naturally cultivate a spirit of generosity. We share freely because we understand that we are stewards of the universe's gifts, not their owners. We give not with the expectation of receiving, but as an act of participation in the cycle of abundance. Let us now consider how we can cultivate gratitude in our daily lives. It begins with mindfulness, the conscious effort to be present and to notice the gifts that each moment offers. It can be nurtured through practices such as keeping a gratitude journal, expressing thanks to others, and engaging in meditation or prayer that centers on thankfulness. As we conclude this journey, take a moment to reflect on the aspects of your life for which you are grateful. Think of the people who have touched your heart, the experiences that have shaped your character, and the simple pleasures that bring you joy. Allow this sense of gratitude to fill you, to overflow from your being, and to touch all aspects of your life. In the silence of your heart, offer thanks for the wisdom that has guided you thus far, for the lessons learned, and for the journey that continues to unfold. Gratitude, service, and detachment are not the end of the path, but the beginning of a way of living that is aligned with the highest truths. As we part ways on this written journey, remember that the wisdom you seek is ever present within you. It whispers in the quiet spaces between thoughts, in the stillness that follows action, and in the love that underlies all creation. Carry this wisdom forward. Let it guide your steps, and let your life be a testament to the beauty that arises when one lives in harmony with the symphony of gratitude.